Let me bring you inside a meeting with the Yankees. Right after they get the call that Juan Soto's going to the Mets, then they go on the Intergoogle. Owners do this. GMs do this. Presidents do this. They're getting ripped, tortured. Fans are losing their mind. There's discussion and the possibility that the Mets have overtaken the Yankees. This is a Yankees city. This is a Yankees world. You don't go to Europe, Asia, Kalamazoo, or New Zealand and see Mets hats. You see Yankees hats. Hard stop. The Yankees could be losing their grip on world domination. Steve Cohen's not just going for the casino to replace the chop shops. He's not just looking to win New York. He's looking to win the world. So the Yankees say to themselves in a meeting, they close the door, they open a little bottle of Jack, maybe a bottle of red, maybe a bottle of white instead, and they say, Brian, although the truth is they could have said, hey, ChatGPT. They actually could have said, hey, Coca, go get Max Fried. Coca would have said, I'm not a GM, what do I know? Here's how you get Max Fried. Call up the agent and say, what do you got? What do you got? You got 6? You're going to be 31, right? All right, what do you got? 6 years? No problem. We'll give you 7. Well, 7. How do you feel about 9? 9? Are you out of your mind? All right, 8. No way. Hold on, let me speak to my player. Hey, Max, the Yankees panicked. Hold on, let me call Boris. I'm very excited this morning because can you imagine that Max Fried, not represented by Boris, is the second best pitcher on the market, is the first lefty ever to get a contract like this, got 8 years, $218 million from a desperate Yankees. There's still desperate teams out there. Desperado. Scott Boris is calling him up and saying, Corbin's looking for a 9er, maybe a 10 spot. It can't be that a plan B would require you to have to allocate that kind in a panic move. This is the New York Yankees. You're that reactive? What is this, your first time with New York media? Your first time with social media? That 2 days after you lose Soto, you read 16 columns, 69 tweets, and you call up Maxie and say, hey, Max, we'll go 8-18. It's almost impossible for me to believe it. So I had to confirm it. So I went on X, spoke to a few people. Here's the reaction that came out of Dallas. Jaw-dropping insanity with occasional doses of this is what happens when you let Steve Cohen buy a New York team and make the Wilpons happy by giving them a couple $1 billion. What happens is you've got a fan with money willing to do whatever it takes to satiate an unsatiable ego, Steve Cohen, to take over a city that is impossible to take over, but not for lack of trying. The impact all the way down in baseball is significant. And I'm not going to stand on the platform and tell you this is the end of baseball as we know it. I'm not going to tell you that right now we are guaranteed a work stoppage in 27 because owners are furious, GMs are incredulous, fans are despondent beyond repair. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm merely going to tell you that each year we see contracts like this. Much like in the NBA, much like in football, when Patrick Mahomes signed his deal, it was the number one deal. Coca, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Mahomes is even the top 3 highest paid quarterback these days. I believe he's somewhere below this recent signings, and that's the way the world works. When you are a free agent later, in terms of years, AD, you make more money than when you're a free agent sooner. It's why players today who stink make more in a year than Don Mattingly did in his career. That is part of sports. The real question that is being asked in baseball circles today is not the worry about Max Fried's contract. It is what are the ramifications as they try to keep a block of 8 teams from forming with the low revenue, low payroll, saying, Gnug, we're done. We are not able. This is a super league you've created, which makes John Henry super duper happy, though he doesn't really act super leaguey in this case, but it makes them very happy when they're at the top. But at the bottom, you are saying our fans don't have hope. We are forced into making trades or making signings at the lower end and then overpaying. For crying out loud, the Oakland A's, darn it, 12-24-69. For crying out loud, the Sacramento Aths, they gave Severino $67 million, not because they thought Severino was worth $67 million, but because they had to increase their payroll, just as we told you. So you've got pressure on the bottom end. You've got pressure on the top end. Where do you go as a team? And if you're one of the bigger markets and you are running a team like the Blue Jays, where you're trying to sign guys but you can't, you are then forced into making trades like they made yesterday as an example. A trade where they said to themselves, hey, Cleveland, we'll take Andres Jimenez off your plate. We're happy to do it. Except, guess what? If we do that, we're taking on this huge amount of money and we're increasing our payroll, but are we really putting ourselves in a position to compete even with the top of the top? So many different questions come out of this offseason